Si le gustaría escuchar un episodio en español, por favor escuche el siguiente episodio.
Good morning, everyone. It is your friend David Fuentes here with the Economic Growth Business Incubator, also known as EGBI. It has been a while since we last connected with y'all, so we want to make sure to have a very informative episode lined up for y'all in this return of La Incubadora podcast. In case you don't already know me, I'm the Community and Development Coordinator at EGBI, and it's a complete honor to be your host for the day. So for those of you tuning in for the first time, La Incubadora podcast is part of the Economic Growth Business Incubator, where we provide training, coaching, and support to existing and aspiring business owners in Central Texas. And today, we will be joined by Maria Jose, also known as Majo Castro, founder and principal attorney at Castroland Legal, to talk about how small business owners can protect themselves, especially in industries like construction, childcare, and home services. Majo is going to break down a little bit about what liens are, why they matter, and what red flags to look for in contracts. We also want to give a little preview about our upcoming Lunch and Learn on May 21st, where Majo will be present to get a little bit deeper into this topic. And so if you've ever been worried about chasing payments or protecting your business legally, this episode is for you. Before we get into it, I want to provide a brief introduction about our special guest today. Maria Jose Castro is the founder and principal attorney at Castroland Legal, PLLC. She combines an advanced legal expertise with first-hand business experience. She holds an LLM in cybersecurity law from the University of Texas, specializing in data security, data privacy, cybersecurity, and emerging technologies. Majo and her team are dedicated to helping businesses navigate complex legal landscapes with practical, proactive solutions. And so Castroland Legal strives to be a trusted partner in cybersecurity, compliance, and business law while delivering personalized legal support. And without further ado, I have the very special privilege of welcoming Maria Jose Castro, also known as Majo. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Hi, David. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you, GBI, for having me and letting Castroland Legal participate in different events to educate our small business community. I'm Maria Jose Castro. Again, as David was mentioning, I'm the founder of Castroland Legal, a Texas-based law firm in where we specialize not only in cybersecurity, privacy, and artificial intelligence, but also in business law. And that's why we're here today to discuss how liens are going to help you leverage your business.
Perfect. No, and thank you so much, Majo. This is a very important topic for our small business owners. I can't tell you the amount of times that folks have come in with this trouble of chasing payments or having completed a project and not having gotten paid. So we are immensely grateful to you and Castroland Legal for supporting us and providing this information to the community.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Well, I think we're ready to get straight into it. Majo, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and also the work that you do with Castroland Legal?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm originally from Venezuela, and I moved to the United States over 10 years ago. I obtained my JD in Venezuela in 2013. I worked as paralegal for many, many years in the United States. And ultimately, I ended up being admitted to do my master's degree in cybersecurity and privacy regulations at the University of Texas. As of last year, I was finally admitted into the Texas Bar Association, and I'm dually licensed in Venezuela and in Texas. And I've been involved in the legal field for over 14 years at this point. The work that we do serves different industries and different type of clients, many of them being in the position that I'm sure you are today, trying to get paid and trying to protect what you've done for you, for your family, for your employees, and for, what matters to you, payments and good work.
Yeah, no, it's very important work that you're doing, Majo. Also, for those of you that don't know, Majo has actually been a volunteer for our classes in the past. And she was also a small business owner. So I think that firsthand perspective is very important and very valuable when she's serving your clients. Majo, again, I'm very grateful. And I want to continue this follow-up question. And it's looking a little bit into what inspired you to work into this field. Also, What does it look like in your day-to-day? How do you serve small business owners in your day-to-day?
That's a great question, because as an attorney, I know how much we are needed by businesses. And as a small
Mhm.
business owner that I've been for 4 or 5 years at this point, even before I became an attorney in the United States, I
Mhm.
understand how expensive we are, and sometimes how inefficient advice we get from attorneys. Sometimes we overcomplicate simple terms and we talk in complex terms that sometimes even me as an attorney have a hard time trying to understand. So what inspired me to do and open my own law firm was exactly that. I want to provide simple, understandable, and practical advice that business owners can apply at accessible flat rates when possible. And I want to tailor my business to small businesses. I understand the, you know, budget constraints, and I understand that you're trying to grow a business, but at the same time needing the legal advice. So we are with them, as they move up. And yeah, that's my day to day. On another hand, looks like, clients call me because they have not only legal questions but business strategy
Mhm.
questions. I am involved in several business negotiations right now. I'm also involved in contract negotiations. I mean, and that's one of the things that I would love to touch base with you, because for actually the topic that we're going to talk about, because I
Mhm.
think that a mechanic lien can be resolved if you have really good contracts, to begin with. So that's how things, go hand in hand on, good legal and practical legal advice to try to avoid the liens. But if we get to that, then that's what we're here for. And that's also what I would love to clarify today as to what's a mechanic lien and how we apply those things.
Yeah, no, super essential. And I love the point that you bring up about being proactive,
Mhm.
so that, a lesion is a tool that you can use, but it's always best to avoid having to use it. So I'm glad to have an expert like you in the field that's able to communicate these ideas, especially specializing in small businesses. And to your point, sometimes there might be some barriers in understanding what these tools are and how to use them. And so, Majo, for maybe a small business owner who might not be familiar with what a lien is, can you explain it to us in a little bit of maybe basic terms and why it's important?
Yeah, definitely. Aline, I see it as a powerful tool that a business owner can use to get paid. Let's say that you
Mhm.
did some work, you didn't sign the appropriate contracts to begin with, and now you're stuck with a client that have you running around back and forth trying to get a check from them. Well, that's when the lien comes in. At the same time, we need to understand that a lien has a process, and not all liens are going to be the same. I mean, if you're a contractor or you're a subcontractor, different processes will apply. And that's exactly why you need experts trying to guide you through the process of what's a mechanic lien to protect your interest.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, no, no, it makes total sense. So we get this question all the time, right? A lot of folks come with us in times of emergency, whenever someone hasn't paid them, and it's really sad to see. It's really sad to see. And so I do have a follow up question for you in regards to what is a lien, and that is, why is it important for us to understand liens, and what industries do you commonly see that work with liens?
Usually, what I see, and I have about 5 or 6 clients in these industries currently right now: construction and home services. We usually see, for example, contractors working for uh, apartment complexes in town, and where they do a lot of work. They do like a paint, and they do a small repair, and then they do an appliance repair, and then they keep,
Hmm.
accumulating the job. And then usually these companies have a net 30 contract. They usually should pay the contractor 30 days, every month at the
Hmm.
end of the month. What I usually see happening is that you see that the invoices start, piling up, and then you see clients that they don't want to hurt the relationship with the apartment complex because it's a huge client usually.
Hmm.
So they try to refrain from even mentioning a mechanic lien. But I think that is a way to protect yourself and your business. I
Hmm.
also have understood throughout the years that a mechanic lien and contractual relationships don't go necessarily hand in hand, in the sense of, if I were to be the builder for an
Hmm.
apartment complex that have been paying me on time for the last 12 months, and there's a couple of months that they haven't paid, Do I really want to mention a mechanic lien? What do I want to do? What's going to be the strategic plan
Mhm.
for me to get paid and at the same time don't hurt the business relationship? That's something that I see a lot of my clients having a rough time with.
Yeah, that's a really good point, right? Not wanting to these bigger projects, but still waiting on the payment. We see it all the time, and so it's very important for our small businesses to protect themselves because sometimes they don't have documentation that they could use. Like we've gotten folks who haven't gotten paid, but then the invoices don't have anything dated. They don't. It's something very informal, and I also know that some bigger companies might be even doing this predatory, right? Like they target small businesses, which is why it's very important for our small businesses to protect themselves starting now, right? So Majo, part of that question is being, what can we start doing now to protect ourselves from future issues before even having to use a lien?
And I love that question because I love to work proactively and not necessarily in a reactive way.
Hmm.
I, as a business owner myself, not only an attorney, I think that this is one of the key elements of owning a business. If you
Hmm.
can plan and you can be proactive about things and you have the information at hand, you can prevent most of the issues that are going to come across. And a mechanic lien process is usually avoided whenever you start, even from the foundation of having a really good contract in place. And I'm not talking a contract that you're getting off of Etsy for
Hmm.
$8. I am not talking about that contract that you find in Office Depot for $25. I
Yeah.
am referring to actually having a legal consultation that I know for experience and now as being an attorney that it's not necessarily cheap, but it's going to save you thousands of dollars down the line.
Yeah.
I think that people and small business owners need really to understand um, the positive side of having someone with experience and with
Yeah.
business experience, not only an attorney, but having the business experience themselves, knowing what is it like to be a small business owner, knowing what is it like to be on a budget, and knowing what is it like to waiting to get paid in order to be able to reinvest the money back into the business.
Hmm.
Because not all of us start our businesses with a $100,000 loan. At least I haven't, not any of my business. So it's always a slower process, a slow burn. I understand that there's other things that are also a priority. For example, marketing. Marketing costs a lot of money for a small business, and five
Hmm.
to $1,500 a month. So, but to me, the key to prevent even the mechanic lien conversation is to have really good contracts drafted, tailored to your business, to your needs, and to what exactly you're dealing with at that moment.
Yep. No, that's perfect information. And again, I appreciate the proactive approach. One thing we always recommend our small business owners is to have three contacts, and that's a lawyer, that's a banker, and that's an accountant. And to start developing those relationships, because even if you don't need them now, you don't know when you want a lawyer, whenever you need that contact, that already knows a little bit about your business, that knows how you run, that knows also the formalities of your business, like if you're working with contracts and how you're protecting themselves. So absolutely, absolutely always recommend having your contracts reviewed by a lawyer or someone, a community expert, right? Now that we're kind of talking into this point, it's a good segue into my next question, and this is about contracts and agreements. Now, Majo, are there any red flags our small business owners should watch out whenever they're entering into contracts or agreements?
Yeah, there are many of them. I see a lot of like, oh, I don't want to sign the contract because you're only going to do a little painting job. And then that little painting job turns into changing some bulbs and replacing some appliances. And then whenever you come and see, you are doing, $5,000-$6,000 of work at that determined property with no
Hmm.
contract. Verbal contracts are no. Vague terms in a contract is literally just like having no contract.
Hmm.
A contract that has no exit clause, it's a no for me. An
Hmm.
exit clause or a termination clause, it's literally what let us know how we can end a determined legal relationship, business relationship, if we don't feel that it's going right. What are you going to do the day that that client stops paying you and the contract doesn't say what's going to be happening in that determined situation. Usually you have a contract that drafts and delimits the business relationship in a way that is, if, for example, I'm a business owner and you, David, you sign a contract with me and I'm doing some services for you and you haven't paid in 30 days, then the contract says, hey, if David hasn't paid in over, I don't know, 2 weeks, you can stop work legally and, until they pay. So that's something that, and I know that a lot of business owners feel intimidated by those type of clauses because they feel that they're entering the business relationship way too strong. But in my opinion, how I see it is that you can have those clauses in a contract and you can start the business relationship in that way, but still be flexible in the sense that if I know that David has always been in time with his payments, then I'm not going to be too harsh on him. I'm going to give him some time because we've been working together for 2 years. And I don't necessarily have to enforce the clause, but I have it under my sleeve in case I need it.
Yeah, that's a very good point of advice, right? Having that exit strategy in your contract. I saw that you posted a recent post over at y'all socials, Castroland Legal, something very similar. So I highly recommend checking out their socials because it's a great source of information. And again, it's coming from a community expert, a trusted source. I saw your page. I've been following y'all for a little bit. Y'all provide some great advice. So thank you very much. Now, a big part of this podcast, number one, is to provide y'all the resources, right? Provide our small business owners the resources. But we're also going to have a very special event with Majo. So Majo, can you tell us a little bit about the Lunch and Learn that you're going to be doing on May 21st?
Yes, definitely. On May 21st, I want to get into the details as to the different lien processes that exist for contractors and subcontractors, mistakes to avoid, and actually even how I've been recommended a few of my clients to take the internal process to in order to be ready in case that a mechanic lien is necessary. So I'm going to be taking a practical approach. I'm going to try to be straightforward. I know that some people see this process a little bit more complicated than it actually is, but knowing the difference between a contractor and a subcontractor will take you a long way whenever you are thinking on enforcing a mechanic lien. So that's exactly the route that I'm going to take for the 21st event.
Perfect. Yes, and if you're interested in hearing a little bit more from Majo, I highly encourage you to go over to our website, www.egbi.org, and navigate over to Lunch and Learns. So again, that's if you're interested in hearing more from Majo on the May 21st Lunch and Learns on liens. It's from 11:30 to 1:30, so it'll be a great event. We'll go more in depth on this topic around liens. And so Majo, again, we're very excited to keep working with you. Everything that we do here is for the community. So I appreciate y'all coming through, getting this information out. Now, if I'm interested in getting any services or just getting in touch with you and asking questions, how can I learn more about you and Castroland Legal?
Well, the first step will just following us in our socials at Castroland Legal. That's going to be for Instagram and LinkedIn, or going to our website, castrolandlegal.com. And we also have a phone number that we have displayed in our website that you can call us directly to. And there's links also if you want to straight go for the consultation call. You can reserve it also through our website.
Okay, perfect. And for our listeners here, that's castrolandlegal.com, socials at Castroland Legal, and the phone number is also on the website. So Majo, thank you again very much. It's a pleasure to finally meet you, at least virtually. Thank you for being here. Well, friends, that's it for today. Again, it's been a complete pleasure chatting with you, Majo. We hope y'all learned a little bit about EGBI today and about Castroland Legal. It's our pleasure to serve you, our small business community, and we hope to see it in our work and our impact. So thank you for listening, for being a part of this community. And as always, remember that La Incubadora podcast is part of the Economic Growth Business Incubator, a business accelerator here in Central Texas that offers training, coaching, and support services to both existing and aspiring business owners. So again, if you're interested in visiting us and checking out the event we're having with Majo, visit egbi.org and we'll see you very soon. Thanks again, Majo.
Thank you for having me, David.